and welcome to Inner Circle Guidance. Today we're going to be doing a collective reading, but for those of you who are new to the circle, hello and welcome. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. I post new content every single day. If you're looking for daily short tarot readings, check out my Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube Shorts. If you're looking for personal services or personal readings, I offer them through my website, innercircleguidance.com. Let's find out what the circle needs to know today. We have the Knight of Wands. We have the High Priestess. We have the Two of Cups. We have the Three of Cups. We have, interesting, the Page of Cups. We have the Queen of Wands. Very interesting. All right. So the Queen of Wands is somebody who is very creative. This is someone who can be very magnetic. This is fire energy, someone who's very curious and kind of lets their curiosity sort of lead them along their path. This is somebody who sometimes can seem a little unfocused, maybe has a lot of interest in a lot of different areas, and their curiosity easily will allow them to drift off. But I'm also seeing that in this particular reading, this is somebody who sometimes begins to kind of sway off course, but is getting better at getting back on track to what it is that they're really trying to pursue or what it is that they want rather quickly. This is somebody who's magnetic to other people. Other people find them very inspiring, very interesting. They find motivation through this person. This is somebody who's really good at bringing people together. And what I'm seeing here is that you are stepping into this kind of energy, or you are learning to tap into this energy in a way that's really going to be benefiting you moving forward. So I'm seeing in the past, you had some people in your life and surrounding you who would come rushing in. They'd have all this motivation. They'd say all the right things. But there was always sort of this disconnect between what they actually said and what they actually did. And oftentimes that kind of energy would sort of fizzle out, or they would be unreliable, or they would say all the things but not do all the things. And I'm seeing that because you went through that experience, your High Priestess energy is your inner voice, your intuition. It is the guardian between the worlds who brings the different messages forward. Because you have experienced that in the past, you are very strong in your knowing when somebody comes and gives you this sort of like half-assed energy. And I'm seeing that you're no longer available for that. You are no longer putting up with people like that. You're just not available for it. And I'm seeing that you are listening to your inner voice. You're listening to any time that you feel there's a red flag or you feel like something's off. And because of that, it's attracting a completely different group of people here. I'm seeing that it's gonna be people who are more in alignment. There's more reciprocity. There's more equal respect, equal communication, equal effort. There's a lot of healing happening with you and maybe the things that have happened in your past regarding relationships. And I'm seeing that you're really learning how to leverage your intuition and your instincts when it comes to meeting people. And you're getting very good at not only attracting the right kind of people and recognizing these different traits in people, but you're also building these stronger relationships, these stronger inner circles that are a lot more abundant and a lot more reciprocal. And I'm seeing that even if you're meeting people who are, say, more experienced in some way than you are, either you're meeting people who maybe you want to be a parent, or maybe you are a parent and you want to have multiple kids and you're meeting people who already have children, or you're meeting somebody who you would perceive to be very successful in their career, whatever it is. But I'm seeing that these are people who, they're not necessarily all on your level in terms of, you all aren't the same. You have differences. You have different places that you're at in your lives. However, all of that is helping you and the other person to grow. It's helping the two of you to come at things from different perspectives. It's allowing you to be mentors for each other in different ways. So you may be going to a friend of yours because she's a wonderful mom and has multiple kids, and you need some guidance on figuring out something with your kids. Or you may come to find that you're meeting someone who's very successful in their career, but maybe they struggle in certain areas that you're able to help with. There's a lot more reciprocity here. There's a lot more equal give and take. There's a lot more communication. There's a lot more listening. There's a lot more equal respect. And there's a respect for time and energy that I'm seeing here that's been heavily lacking in your past. But I'm seeing that you're going to be getting some offers here soon. Now, for some of you, this could be romantic offers because we do have the Two of Cups on the table and we do have the Knight of Wands. The Knight of Wands is a very fiery, passionate sort of energy. So even though this is in the past, and even though I'm saying that this is someone who fizzles out, in general, though, the fire cards can be more romantic than, say, like the Three of Pentacles doesn't typically fall into a romantic category. However, because we have the Two of Cups and the Three of Pentacles, you could be meeting somebody at work, whether this is romantic or this could just be in general. You may be getting a work opportunity, or you may be leading a new project or a new initiative. But I am seeing that there's going to be some unexpected offers coming. They're going to be coming from different people in your circle. So kind of have your ears open and be open to the idea of these things. They may not be something you were expecting. They may not be something that you feel you're prepared for, or they may not be something that you even find that you're interested in. But be open to the idea, be open to the opportunity. Take the meeting, listen, hear them out, whatever it is, and decide if it's something that's in alignment with what you're trying to do. And as long as you're listening to your intuition, you'll be making the right choice very easily with this. But I'm seeing that because the Queen of Wands is the underlying overall energy, these opportunities may be something quite big having to do with your career or with some sort of material aspects of your life where you will be stepping into some sort of major leadership role. So that could look different for different people, whatever it ends up presenting itself as. I'm seeing that there's not going to just be one opportunity. There's going to be quite a few. And what's interesting is we also have 2-2 on the table, which in numerology, 2s have to do with union, harmony, and peace. It has to do with reciprocal balanced energy. So whatever these offers are, they're going to be offers that are going to be more reciprocal in nature. In the past, you may have been that type of person who always had to do all the work in every single relationship that you had, or you had to be the person who kind of like was the glue to everything, or you had to be the motivator for everyone or whatever. And I'm now seeing that you're no longer doing that. So not only are you attracting people who are not that kind of energy, but you're also stepping into this more powerful, abundant energy where you're being a lot more intentional with where you're putting your time and energy. You're being a lot more focused. I always say it's good to follow your curiosity, because you'll come to find that sometimes certain things that you thought were irrelevant to what you were doing actually end up being really important to you later. So I always tell this story. When I was in college, I was interning for a production company because I had to do that as part of my college graduating program. I was working for a company. Meanwhile, I had 2 of my own production companies, one that I had with a bunch of partners and one that I had with just one partner. And eventually I went off and only did the one with the one partner. But before all of that happened, I was doing various different things at that internship. I was kind of just like switching through departments, and he was just sort of putting me in different places to see how his company worked and all the different aspects of it, which meant that I was doing a lot of his social media, his marketing, and his branding work, even though I technically was there for film. And what happened was I was only there for a couple of months. It wasn't a very long amount of time. I can't remember, because it was just for the length of whatever one class would have been in terms of hours. He pulls me into his office one day and he's like, "We need to talk." And I'm like, "Oh shit," I'm like, "What happened?" And he sits me down and he proceeds to tell me how all the marketing and branding and social media that I was doing created so much engagement and so many followers that it was unprecedented at his company. And you have to keep in mind, this was a long time ago, and like, to date myself a little bit here, this was before Instagram was a thing. So this was all largely on Facebook and largely on YouTube. So that being said, I'm like, okay, that's great. I'm not really sure, what else to say. And he proceeds to offer me the position of his executive level director of marketing and social media in his company. He was offering me equity. He was offering me, essentially, I could run the department however I saw fit. I could hire whoever I saw fit within a certain budget. I remember being really stunned because at the time my thought process was, well, that's bizarre. I got offered this position and I'm not even here for that. Like, I was not at all pursuing social media marketing, any of that at the time. This was something that just came natural to me. I had never done social media marketing or branding for any other companies other than my own during this time. So I thanked him. I told him I'd think it over, which really meant I was probably still gonna say no, but I felt like I shouldn't just immediately jump out and say it. I eventually thanked him and said no. This is not the opportunity I'm looking for. Thanks so much. Moved on. The reason I tell you this story is because only maybe 2 years later, and because of that job, I actually ended up doing some social media stuff before I moved to Los Angeles, because I was looking to be able to produce my own content. So I was taking on a bunch of work so that I could self-produce. Anyhow, the point is, a couple years later, I moved to Los Angeles, and by that point, I did have a lot of credits and things under my belt in terms of social media and marketing. And when I moved out to Los Angeles, I entered at the time when a huge revolution was happening in the industry, because no longer was social media just for connecting with friends and keeping in touch with people. No longer was the entertainment industry only the kind of people who could tell stories through video content. This was when Instagram became a huge thing, content creation became a huge thing, YouTube blew up, all this stuff happened, and suddenly social media marketing and branding were not so far apart from the filmmaking stuff I was doing. They all ended up merging together. So what happened is, that was how I ended up catapulting myself in that industry, because I had all the background in the social media and marketing and branding. All of that came to me very easily. So I ended up working with celebrities and things like that almost right off the bat. But if I had rejected all the social media stuff and I hadn't been open to it to a certain extent, because I still turned that job down, and I still think that was the right decision because that wasn't in line with what I was wanting to do. I wanted to do my other stuff. And if I would have been taking on that position, there's no way I would have had the time to put into the production stuff that I really wanted to. So I was intentional with the decisions that I made, but I was still open to doing some of the social media marketing things and stuff for companies. If I hadn't been open to that, I wouldn't have learned those skills that would have allowed me to catapult my career. So I tell you this because I want you to be open to the idea of how some of these opportunities come. Because sometimes if you have a curiosity in it, and or you find that something you do comes very easily to you, it's usually because it ties into your life path in some way that you may not see yet. I certainly at the time never thought I would do social media marketing or branding. I always thought that was so far away from what it was I wanted to do. Now I'm a social media marketing expert. I also still do all the other stuff that I want to do. They all tie in together. Be open to some of these opportunities. Be open to what the universe might present to you that might seem somewhat insignificant or might seem somewhat like it's off track or like it's not quite in line with what it is you want to do, because more than likely there's some sort of plan that the universe has for you regarding this specific thing. Oftentimes you'll come to find that all the skills and things that you acquire through the various work that you do or the various things that you do end up helping you later in your life or later in your career. So pay attention at this time. Be discerning and be intentional. Don't just take things willy-nilly. If you really don't want to do something, then don't do it, because more than likely that's not in alignment with anything you're trying to do. It's just a distraction or it's a mirage. However, be open to the idea. If it's something that you think you have a curiosity in, or something you think you might be really good at, something that you have the power to draw the boundaries and things with, then maybe give it a go and see what happens. And so your affirmation for this reading is, I am remaining open to things presenting themselves better than I could have imagined. And as always, may your life be full of light, full of love, abundance, and gratitude. I'll see you next time.